My name is Jerome Altman. I am the director of the Exodus Drum and Bugle Corps. One of the greatest things that I found was that music is always an encouragement and uplifting, and it gives the kids a chance to do great things in the community.
Does it say recording on the screen?
Now, you read it already.
No.
It's already shut.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. 5.
Hi, we're live here at Exodus Institute, and we're doing the radio portion and the TV program upstairs today. So if you want to come out and join us, we're at 816 North Laramie, Chicago, Illinois, where we here at Exodus Institute happen to work with the youth in the community, but we happen to have our senior citizen program up here today. I'm so glad that we finally made it up those stairs. This program was supposed to start at 12, it's now 12:30, and we're still waiting on a few other seniors to make it up the last few flights of stairs. The elevator happened to be out over here, and we need some help to get that done. Listen, they're still coughing right now from just traveling, and some of them started coming up the stairs at 11 o'clock. So we're here live, and we happen to have Brother Brown, and he's here to bring things to you and in his own words and how he wants to deliver it, and he's very dynamic about it, whatever it is that he has to say. So wrap up and pay attention.
First of all, I'd like to thank Ed for that introduction. Looking at God got a sense of humor. He gave us his old firehouse, and all the topics that we've been having around here, they're real hot and down to earth topics on what's truly hurting the city. The city right now is in dire need of program, is in dire need of housing. I was looking at a segment this morning about how they have stretched out all the resources, like we talking about Salvation Army, all these different churches and all this, and how they have brought all this influx of these immigrants here in Chicago, and then how we up and embarking on the mayoral race, and we got 10 different people running, and all that is a direct move to hurt, I'll say, and a lot of people agree on what I'm going to say, is to hurt the black man and the black woman and the black families here in the city of Chicago. So what we need to do is form and come together on what we can say and what we can do in order to get the candidate that's going to truly for the poor people.
And I think
that's what it's about.
I think they do have a committee that will be hosting that forum. If I'm not mistaken, I think it's going to be on the 21st of January. They're going to be out, I think it's 125 to 126 East on 26th Street here in Chicago. And it's a black forum. They want to find out what the candidates are planning on doing just for the black community. They got some questions lined up for them to see, because we can't just let them come in and be the mayor and not address the black community's need. And so they're going to have a forum on the 21st of January. I think the time is 12 noon. I forget what they had. They had a special thing that they were doing online. I don't know that email that they were hosting at the time. I think they're trying to get some seats together or something. That's that noise you all hear in the background. But there is a need for people to come out. You may not be able to express what you have that day, but if you come out with them, I think it's the old hospital over there, 126 East, 125 East on 26th Street. I forget the name of the hospital and everything that's near it. And they will be having that meeting on the 21st. I do know that. So if you want to elaborate on some things further, or
Well, what I feel
And
like,
they get that mic up to you, so they get it.
I'm gonna have to be there because it's a blatant disrespect. You know, we looking at, I mean, it used to be subtle. You know, discrimination used to be subtle when you can't too much see it. Now it's blatant, right in our face. They send the Haitians back. They roll down on them with horses and they whoop them and everything, and they sent them down there. So what I think needs to be addressed is how they get away with letting all these immigrants over here, and they're taking up all these resources that's relegated for the poor people that's here and the citizens of the United States, you know, and then sending them all out of Texas, sending them all out of all these different states and sending them here to Chicago. You know, I mean, I can understand it saying it's a sanctuary town, but what they doing to the blacks in these parks, like Columbus Park, Garfield Park, and all these parks, see, the Maryland gave them tents.
Yeah.
You know, but they give the immigrants the more plush and the more lucrative situation. And these people been on here all their lives, so
they don't care about their own citizens, is what you're saying.
We need to come together, you know, and start practicing group economics, open up our businesses and start pulling ourselves together, because they just blatantly trying to stir up either some kind of war, or they trying to get us to have such a hatred toward what they're doing is to cause us to do something erratic.
And it could be on a political.
It
could be a political move.
It needs to be
just
a break.
for the votes.
It needs to be a break, because we have been the true occupants of the United States, even from when they brought us over on the ships. You know, we always have contributed to the cause of this country, this great country, and we always have pride ourselves on building this country. We built Britain, France, we built all the countries, sugar, cotton, and everything. We made the whole economy of the world function.
So we are the foundation.
I feel like they owe us reparations, and I want my money right now, you know. and then they owe us from 40 acres of mule, never gave us our 40 acres of mule. They just blatantly disrespecting us all the way around the board. But then I can't really get mad at them. It's our inability to stick together that's causing us all these problems. We got to stop hating and start participating and start cooperating with each other. You know what I'm saying? So we can put a light on this stagnant and all this, what they call it, institutional racism that's been plaguing our community for years and years and years. Wake up, everybody. No more sleeping in bed. We got to step up.
And also, what he was saying about, it was actually 15,000 Haitians that they had down there that came in through Mexico, but they had them down there in Texas, and they were whooping them on horses with whips, beating them. They were up under like bridges or whatever. They cleaned that up in 2 days. 15,000 Haitians were gone. Now, I don't know how they did it in 2 days, but those dark-skinned immigrants were gone. They claimed that they put them back. They sent them back to Haiti.
What they did.
But
This is what I heard. I heard they had some technicians out there, some people out to fix small motors and fix motors. I heard they fixed all their motors up on them little ships and makeshift boats and things they came up with. Then they pulled them back to Haiti, and they turned the motors up high so they could hurry up and get them back down. You know? And I'm saying that out of humor, but it's actual reality. So,
and even what he said, I'm going to take it a step further than that, because to get rid of 15,000 people that fast, in the way that they were beating them and doing, they may have just disappeared another way.
oh yeah.
I don't trust what they did with them. And matter of fact, there's a group that's coming in Florida right now. They're from Haiti, Puerto Rico, Cuba, from a few other islands. But they are dark-skinned immigrants coming in. And they will not sit back and bus them to the cities. They're actually sending them back to where they came from in Florida. The governor down there don't want them there, and he's sending them back because they're coming in from Florida. What it seems like there's a, excuse me, it seems like there's something against the dark skin
It is.
immigrants.
And then when you look at all these different countries where these people's coming from, Nicaragua, El Salvador, Guatemala, and all like that, they got if you go and visit any of those cities down there, Brazil and everything, they got Afro-Brazilians, Afro-Mexicans, they got Afro-Guatemalans, but they practice the same superior United States policy on their own countries. They suppress the dark-skinned people and they let the light-skinned people come up. So this is a global problem that the United States is still perpetuating, and we got a way out. It would be ludicrous for us to try to fight them, because they got I was in the Army. They got the Army, Air Force, and the Marines. So what we have to do, and how you iterate this here, I will tell the president, I'll tell anybody in the world, our only option is to start practicing group economics, open up our own businesses and start, stop hating, start participating, start cooperating, congratulating, and working together with each other. Because they'll let us do it in the United States. Because it's already historic fact. If you try to take these black people out of this country, they're going to get you.
Will Evans started that over 15 years ago, where he sat back and he said, buy black and keep it in our neighborhoods and our community. And we still don't seem to utilize that theory.
Right.
We still happen to go out here and we support everybody that come in the neighborhood and community.
Come over our back.
Those that happen to have the money, they don't seem to want to open up and get businesses and different things to help us. So we have to do some things. It's got to change. Matter of fact, I'm going to go back a little further. In the United States, there are actually some places. Right here in Illinois, we got a town called Mounds, Illinois. In Mounds, Illinois, those hills were actually pyramids. And if you look at the Native Americans, they were actually some dark-skinned Indians that was here before those ships came from England and France and all those other places. And so we may be the indigenous people here now. We weren't all slaves coming over here. And so we have to sit back and remember that we were kings and queens over in Africa, but we were also here in the United States. And in the United States, there are some pyramids that's been covered up over in what they call the New Land.
Yeah, and to add to what Brother Ed was just saying, it's some historical facts that we circumnavigated the whole globe way before Columbus was even discovered. So that's why it's so crucial for us to pass on this ancient knowledge, because truly we are the kings and the queens of the salt, and we the salt of the earth, and we are the true children of God. So, but a lot of us don't know it. We don't recognize it because this country has been enabling us and utilizing us. Like my grandma and my granddaddy. My grandma told my granddaddy when they were sharecropping down there in Mississippi, if he wasn't going to leave Clarksdale, Mississippi, she was going to leave Clarksdale, Mississippi. Because as sharecroppers, they was beating them out their money ever since emancipation when they let them go. So it's either give us our reparations and give us an equal playing field and all this back and forth. I'm tired of it. Y'all know what y'all did. Y'all raped us. Y'all took our money. Y'all kept us out of housing. That's why Dr. Martin Luther King came here in 68, 69, because of this improper way y'all was utilizing us, putting us in these old rat holes and been taking our money for over 450 years. I want my money, and I want it now.
And he wanted his ancestors' money. But if you pan over here at this, we're going to have our Black History here and Exodus. And the first thing on the agenda, happened to say, is to help thyself. This is all that Mr. Brown is sitting back talking about coming together. We have to help ourselves. We have to actually help heal some of those wounds and different things that happen to be coming about upon us. And we are some divine, blessed people. We happen to just go through some things and we've survived. I guess they could call us like what was done to us over the years and all of those things. I'm not going to sit up here and say that we don't deserve the money that he's sitting back talking about or anything, but I'm not going to sit up and wait for you all to give us that money. We got to start teaching and going upon this thing ourselves. There's a bunch of rich black people in our communities that can sit down and reach back and help. Our children, our youth are being targeted very hard by the different commercials and things that's going on, and how they're giving all this stuff on YouTube and TikTok, and how they're being targeted, Snapchat, and how they're sitting back and they're trying to do things. We have to teach them a better way also. There were 70, I have a chart over here. Well, we're not going to go into the chart right now. We have a senior in training on the camera. The youth are not doing the camera today, so we're not going to pan around too much. But we're going to be teaching some very deep things in the neighborhood over here at Exodus, because our youth need to know, and we want to put that safety net and that protection up over them. We happen to have a lot of homeless people in our neighborhood, in our community, that they're opening up schools for some of these other immigrants that are coming in. They could have opened up some of those schools for some of those people in the tent, where we could sit back and give them telephones and different things so that they can have an address, so that they can get some of the things that's provided for and different things. We have to stand up and help one another throughout these hard times. This is 2023, and we have to make a change at this time. There's a new door and a gateway that's opening, and a blessing is going to come through for us. There's some things that need to be said and done because of the drugs and the crime that's going on in our neighborhoods, and we're going to get Mr. Brown to elaborate upon how we over here at Exodus happen to help with some of the drugs and different things that's going on, especially that opioid thing that people that are not used to having drugs in their system, but you go and you break your leg or you hurt your back, and they give you these opioids, you go to the dentist and they give you this codeine stuff, and the next thing you know, these people are hooked and then they're out. They give it to you for maybe 10 days, but the pain is still there after the 10 days. And so they turn to these other drugs that happen to be out here in the streets where they're getting all these different pills and things. So,
and that's why I'm in the field of recovery. See, I'm an addiction specialist. I specialize in the disease of addiction. And see, what happens in our neighborhoods, and not just here in Chicago, but across the United States, all this influx of Mexicans and things, and all this influx of these immigrants coming across their border, they bringing all the cheap drugs over here. They bringing fentanyl, they bringing all these other opioids over here, they bringing morphine, they bringing everything over here. And what happens is they put it in these designated areas, like over here on the west side, on the south side. And I just come out of St. Louis. In St. Louis, Missouri, they doing the same thing. There's epidemic proportions down there. I went to Cleveland. I went down south. I went down there where Master P and them at down in the dirty south. And it's up at epidemic proportions. So I feel like to combat this situation here is other than to start practicing group economics and open up. And like I tell the mayor, I tell her all the time, when I see her, I see the governor and all them, I don't be scratching my head, snapping my feet, shaking my, and scratching my head and acting like a old house nigga. I don't be doing that. I talk to them just like I'm talking to y'all right now. Look, man, y'all quit cutting these programs. We need all this monies to combat this drug and influx on these drugs. And so I'm on the front line. I'm enjoying being cleaned off drugs out here. I've been clean over 21 years. I don't smoke rock.
Come on now.
I wear rocks. And I got this mind because I asked God to take it away from me. You know, they don't want to recognize God as the architect and designer of this whole world. See, that's the problem. We always have relied on God, even from the slave days until where we at now. But see, what happened was the enemy, who we fighting against, addiction, he done took prayer out to school. He done took punishment out of school. You can't fool your kids. As consequently, and then they put drugs in it. Then Donald Trump put all that hate down in here. And so what it's doing is targeting us black men and women as a problem, and that's a lie. It's saving you a lie.
That's right. There's actually 3 states, now that they've taken the prayer out of the school, there are 3 states right here in the United States that's allowing Satanism to be taught or practiced in these schools.
We're going to drag you away from out of here.
And they're targeting our youth in our communities. They're sitting back, they're putting in the candies. For Halloween, like they gave out, this guy ran out of the candy to give to the kids. So he started passing out the candy with the marijuana in it. And the parents, either they ran over there to get some of that candy or they ran over there to whoop his butt. But nevertheless, he was giving this candy to the youth that was sitting back getting drunk or whatever it is that the candy made them do. And they're targeting with these little smoke shops, some of these places, they got the jelly beans and the gummy bears and all of these other things with the drugs placed off up there. We have to be careful how they're sitting back targeting the youth. They're doing a thing off up in the school systems that we happen to learn about, where they're sitting back teaching the sex education,
Right.
where they're teaching them the sex, female sex on females is okay, and male on male sex is okay. We can't have them targeting our youth with all of these things, and there's going to be some more. We had a program here Saturday fighting up against that, and they're going to the South Side next week. But we have to get out and get the parents to know what the school system is doing with our youth, because that's not right to sit down there and teach those kids. They're teaching them in kindergarten about sex, and it's not fair. The parents don't have to know this. And so you have to join your PTAs to get out here to find out what's going on with your kids at school. You need to come to your community forums. You need to come over here to Exodus Institute. We're at 816 North Laramie every Wednesday, 12 o'clock. Come over here and learn what's going on in your neighborhood and share some of these things so that we can wake up. We need to wake up America. It's very devious what's going on at this time in our neighborhoods and community. Tell the programs that you have to initiate over here at Exodus.
Well, I want to thank the director, Jerome. God, like I said, God got a sense of humor. He gave us a firehouse, and these topics they're fiery, and that's what's being needed. All this sugar, all that's over with. We're gonna throw out the truth, cause the people need to hear the truth, but they've been dull and dampened down with drugs and alcohol, fentanyl, and all this stuff. And it's intentional. But thank God for places like Exodus, where we at now. Where we can have this podcast, where we can have. That's why we encourage y'all to come on over and be with us. You know what I'm saying? Don't hate, come on and be a part of the solution. Because it's going to take a village. It take all of us. Come on out them houses, quit hiding over in there, and look in them kids' rooms and see what they got in there. Quit letting them get away with everything. Don't be studying about the DCFS. Get you a stick or something.
Mr. Brown, they can't whoop the kids.
Well, go in there and do something.
They can't do that no more.
It's out of order. But thank God for, people like me and Brother Ed. He's a highly spiritual man. That's what I like. See, because we wrestle not against, I'm also aware that we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against evil, weakness, and high places. So basically, I don't have no hate for none of the kids. I don't have no hate for their moms, their grandmas, or none of them. Because I know it's not of them, it's the enemy. That cunning in their life, that one that rendered all of us helpless and hopeless. And if we given a chance to get in our mind and make us feel less than, you know. So we advocate change. That's
You know,
what we advocate.
part of that change is we also offer over here at Exodus, and that's what I was trying to get him to lead over to. We happen to have on Wednesday nights.
Oh yeah, Wednesday night. Yeah, we have a 12-step program that we do here on Wednesday nights, and we also does a 12-step program on Sunday mornings at 10:30 to 12. And so you welcome to come. You know, if drugs or alcohol is a problem in your life, you come over there on Sunday, over here on Sunday.
Or
We'll let
Wednesday
you,
evening.
we'll let Wednesday evening, we'll let you know there is a way out. You know, I'm a witness. I've been clean over 21 years, and it's been a great ride. You know, it's ins and outs, ups and downs, but what I'm grateful for that this program has gave me the tools to use where I don't utilize going and getting high no more. So I used to, when something happened or when something go wrong, I go to the liquor store, go to the drug house. But now I don't have to do that. Thanks to the program, this 12-step program, I'm not at liberty to say the name because they got anonymity, you know. So we want y'all to come out and be with us. So y'all can get a jump on the disease of addiction, because once it gets you, it's hard to get out of it. So it's going to take a God and some support like what we do over there. What we do over here at Exodus to help you to come from up under here, because by yourself, you can't deal with addiction. You by your self-sufficiency is a lie. You cannot do and fight the enemy by yourself. You need some support.
Sam.
Come over here.
Tell them don't get in front of
Yeah,
you.
come on over here to Exodus, and we'll let you know if drugs and alcohol it's got you to the point where you think you can't never come from up under it. It's a lie. Don't listen to the enemy, because all he do is lie, and he came to steal, kill, and destroy. That's all he come for. So the only way to fight him, you know, see, a lot of state legislators don't like what I'm saying because they want to get paid off of these rehab institutions and things. But I ain't paid a dime to get clean. But I'm reaping a lot of benefits. I got driving license in my pocket. I'm driving a Jaguar. I stay in a 3-bedroom house. Even my refrigerator got a TV on it. And then my oven and my stove got an air fryer on it. Then my pantry is full from the top to the bottom. And then I have a big old freezer in the garage full of meat. I bought down the pre-yard meat market.
We all gonna
Y'all
gather
can exchange.
up at Mr. Brown's house.
Y'all can change, you
It
hear?
sound like we gonna have a barbecue with all that stuff.
Yes,
we got
sir.
going.
Yeah, you know, y'all welcome, but look, don't come around there unless you're trying to change, because I hate for you to use the restroom and then I look around my DVD.
Oh, we want to give Mr. Brown a round of applause. Back for the second portion of the show today. Today is Wednesday. What's the day's date? 18th. The 18th. And we happen to have telephones. And what else you got over here, other side of the telephone?
Well, actually, I have I have multiple different cell phones. They're government phones. So if you have any type of government service, they can get you a phone for free, and the government pays that bill.
Now, we happen to have Mr. Darius Jones here this afternoon with us, and he's been very patient to be over here with us. I don't know if he happened to have the coffee and donuts while we were waiting to get the show together. This is our first time upstairs, and we had a little difficulty getting started because we normally start at 12. But how can these government phones help somebody? You know, what do they have to do to get one of those phones? I think they're calling now. Look at that, you didn't even open it.
Yeah, these are actually one of our upgrades in the store for retail price. This phone is probably like $300, but I'm giving it away for free today.
Oh.
Yep, and all you need is your ID and any type of government assistance, such as like county care, SSI, Link, or anything like that.
Oh, okay.
Or even low income.
Now this phone, this one here, you said, is this that 5G and all that
Yes,
stuff?
sir. Yes, it
This
is.
is 5G.
T-Mobile service too.
Okay, so is that better than this one? What is this one over here?
I would say personally, I would say it's better, honestly, but some people definitely like this one better. Just because it's a blue phone.
Oh, okay. Is it open? Can you let us see it, or if we can possibly get a look at it? Now, I was talking earlier, and we were talking about the people, the homeless people, that don't have a chance to get an address and different things. Do you also help the people that happen to be living in those tents and all of that? They'll be able to get access to this?
Definitely. All they would need is an ID, and I could just take it from here.
So do they have to come here, or where would you be for them to get it? Or could you go set up a place, say we have a lot of them down on Kedzie and Chicago Avenue, and in that area right by the light out there. Would you be able to set up a camp tent or something there to go and assist them there?
I mean, well, I definitely don't mind. We just have to schedule a day where I set it up.
Oh, okay. Well, listen, we might be able to accommodate you on that, because this is going to go out on YouTube. I think we're on Zoom right now.
Oh, great.
And so they may be able, hopefully, they may be able to see this by somebody, or whatever the case is. Or you could just possibly pick a nice sunny day when it's not too bad out to go down there and to accommodate the system. And that's a pretty good phone there. Can you zoom in and get a picture of that? That blue phone there, it's got a little blue-purple light look off up on that. And if you say they're not expensive, I don't have to give you no money or...
Not at all, boss. All you actually would need is government assistance and your ID.
No, I'm not sure if they have the ID or what the case may be. In case they don't have a personal ID to Social Security. Remember, these people may not have a mailing address. And so, is it a way that we could accommodate them through, say, if they just happen to have a letter or something with the government thing on it, could you just use that one piece?
Definitely, that'll work.
That sounds good. Once again, this is to help the neighborhood and the community. And it's not just for the homeless. This is for anybody that need a phone to be able to come out and get one of these. This sounds like this is a good one too, because it's that 5G stuff. I don't know what the heck 5G is and all that stuff. This is a smartphone that runs on Android. So is that still excellent, or is it safe? Do they have to worry about anything? You say they don't even have to get it activated, you activate it?
Yeah, I take care of everything. I activate it, make sure the service is good before I even give it to you.
Now how much is it a month?
Everything is free. It's completely free. There's no bill.
They're not going to turn it off next month.
Nope. Not
What
at
do
all.
they have to do to make sure that it stays on? Do they have to come back and get in contact with you?
Oh, honestly, all they would have to do is just make at least one phone call per month. Because if you don't, then that means that the government will be paying the bill for no reason.
Oh, God.
So, yeah, so as long as you make at least one phone call a month just to show that you're actually trying to use the phone, then they're going to continue to pay the bill.
So this is not to be funny, but make sure that you use that phone every month. Even if you just have to call the person next to you that month, but use that telephone. And I'm so glad that you came out with that information. Today, you're going to be doing this here at Exodus today. Well, we're at 816 North Laramie today. And once again, you'll be here until about 4?
Yep.
Until about 4 p.m. And we happen to have a question in the audience.
Yeah, aren't you concerned that you have to, who is monitoring that one phone call? I mean, if they monitoring one phone call, chances are they monitoring all phone calls. So who is these people to getting these phones to us? Are they connected with AI? AI. Are they a part of a global conspiracy to listen in on people and find out, and so they can you know, be able to reach out and get people's that, you know, what is their purpose? Have you ever tried to figure that out, or do you feel like you're being used to promote something, a hidden agenda you don't know nothing about? Do you feel comfortable?
Surprisingly, honestly, that's a common question.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people always say, is the government going to be listening to us and stuff like that. But honestly, I don't think they are. I don't think it's that serious, because if so, a lot of people would have, you know.
Yeah, but see, you can't say it ain't that serious, man. Do you know 9/11, man, when 9/11 happened? When 9/11 happened, you know that they shut down the whole country, you know, because somebody made a phone call.
You know, the questions that he's asking and saying, that is a good question that you asked. But I'm gonna go a little bit further, because I don't think it's just on the phones that you're giving out.
Right,
for
right.
the government. I think it's on all phones. And
Yeah,
all
because that's how they killed Khashoggi over there in the embassy. They tricked him. They looked on the phone, saw he was down in the embassy. They went over there, saw the band over there. They dismembered him, cut him up like pork chop from chicken, and then they put him in some sacks and they carried him out the embassy. And it came out that they did it through the phone.
might have been in some rice or something. Oh, we have a question right next to
No, it's not a
it.
question, it's a statement.
Oh, statement.
I don't need a microphone.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, please, because we're.
Okay, I really don't need a microphone, but I'll talk, okay? So, if you look at the more benefit, number one, if a person is homeless, they don't have an address.
Right.
They might not have an ID, they probably don't want an ID. But if they do accept the phone, and if they do keep it, and it's not stolen from them, is it a way for the government or the police to track them? Of course it is. They have a government issue phone. And at some point, some family member will have that phone number that they would have reached out to. Just like with all of our phones, you turn off your location, the phone still tracks you wherever you go. It was very obvious in COVID. That's how they were able to tell, who was moving, who wasn't moving, because even if you turn your location off today, you go someplace, you're subject to get a survey saying, hey, how was the Papa John's you just walked into, or whatever.
I should have kept my landline.
Yes, but there's a benefit. The benefit is, putting a phone in somebody's hand who can't possibly afford it,
Right.
who doesn't have a job,
That's
that
right.
needs to reach out, doing that. Because I'm quite sure it's a limited amount of time that they have per month or something like that on the phones. I'm not certain. But it gives them the opportunity to communicate with their families and friends and perhaps stay in tune with the world. Because a lot of places, if you're homeless, if you don't have proper attire on, you can't even get into. And then we're looking at the issue of charging stations. Do they know where the nearest library is at? Where they can go and charge their phones. Because once they get a phone, the battery isn't going to last forever. So they will have to charge it up. So when you look at the complexity of putting things in the hands of someone who is homeless, there's, it can be very complex, because number one, they're gonna have to charge the phone. Number two, they will be able to reach out. Number three, depending on the services that are on the phone, is gonna kind of keep them in tune with what's going on in the real world. It's gonna give them a sense of belonging, like, hey, now I have this. I have something that I couldn't afford to do on my own.
I wanted to ask a question about this Wi-Fi thing too, because, like she said, the charging stations, once they get the phone, they automatically have this Wi-Fi stuff and all of that.
Everything is actually unlimited, the talk, text, and the web.
Okay.
You don't have to worry about any of that. But if the web, of course, does go a little slow, you can always connect it to Wi-Fi. All these phones are compatible. You just hit the Wi-Fi button and connect it to any
So
Wi-Fi.
on the older plans, when it first came out, they were capped to so many minutes.
Yeah.
But on new plans, it's strictly unlimited.
Exactly. I believe Gen Mobile, we're a new company. It's really T-Mobile service,
Okay.
and it's unlimited. I believe we're the best company. Like I said, personally, I think we're the best company, because I don't really get as much complaints as the other companies. People come to me all the time with from insurance and all these other different companies saying that their phones are crappy or whatever. Can I get a phone from you? And then once they do get a phone from you, they come back the next week and thank me so much.
And then how are you guys addressing it for, there's this 70, 60 generation who probably don't want a phone with all the gadgets. and then you got the person who still has a phone that has buttons, and you're saying, can you come on and get into the new world? Because how you know, how you guys are addressing that to get them to change over, because you know, a lot of the phones have, you know, 100 different apps on it or whatever, and you want to get into the new technology. Are you guys then going back to those, to those locations? Let's say, for example, you're here today at Exodus. Now, let's say folks come over today, and let's say you get 20 folks that sign up. And let's just say these folks are not good with technology. Is it a part two? Where you would say, according to the location, like if you're here, and this will be a benefit for folks coming here if they can make it here because it's inside versus typically it's outside, you know, with a tent in the summertime, you know. But if they're able to come back, are the individuals who, such as yourself, are willing to say, hey, I'll come back the following week if you can make it back over here, and I'll, you know, walk you through a quick tutorial of these phones?
Yes, actually, always. I have a good relationship with all my customers. If they have a problem with like using a phone, especially with older people, I make sure they know how to use the phone, and if they have any questions, I make sure I answer all of them before I even give them the phone.
You know, what she brought up, this was kind of new for me. Like I said, I had a landline because I didn't trust the phones. I didn't like this new technology. I didn't text. I don't go on all of that other stuff and do any of it. And so when I got this phone, it was given to me by my kids. And I had to go to my great nephew that's 7 years old because I was ashamed to go to anybody else and say, hey man, get the Bible on my phone on the internet so that I can, when I get ready to go to church and everything, I ain't got to carry my Bible. And the boy took the phone. Go. Oh, 7 years old. Yeah. I sat back and said, you better not tell nobody.
I gotta get back on TikTok.
And he had to go back on, he got two of them. I mean, big phones, whatever that is. iPad. Yeah, he got two of them working.
So on an average, how many consumers in the community do you feel that you know, service, you know, help with these phones or these phone phones? No, I don't, yeah, a week or a month. That come across your path.
Honestly, average monthly, like 200.
Wow.
And so that speaks to the number of individuals that's receiving some sort of public assistance.
Yes.
Okay.
I wasn't expecting that number.
Yeah, I mean, we got the best phones, so I literally like,
Right.
I get people from all different companies, and like, as soon as they see my company, they want to try it out, and then they like, I get a lot of referrals from different people.
So they actually can come and switch over to you?
Yeah. It doesn't matter if they had another government phone, if they got one active right now, they could just get one of these if they think this phone is better. All they would need is their ID, and then, you know.
You would close that one, the one they have out and open yours.
Definitely, but sometimes we don't even have to. We just can try it out and then close that out on its own, or both of the phones will stay on.
You have to be getting some kind of state assistance before you can. I mean, what about if they just don't have no assistance, if they just out there?
If they have low income, then we can do it that way. Like if they have check stubs that say that they don't make anything, then that'd be great. If they don't have Link, County Care, or SSI, anything like that.
And what's the basic information that you're looking? Is it just their name, address, date of birth, social?
Exactly. And I don't even need the full social. They only ask for the last four.
The last four, well, they'll find them.
So they don't have an address on those homeless people. They don't have an address. What they put down?
If they on LinkedIn, that
They
gives
got
us, some of them could be on LinkedIn and everything.
But there's no. How do they have an address?
Well, so if they don't have an address and they don't have a government assistant, what do you call it, a card or something like that, I guess the question is that, would you still be able to give someone a phone? No address, no type of government assistant?
No.
Okay.
They can't get.
No.
They gotta pay for it.
Yeah.
But see, everybody that I know that's homeless, you know, like when I go to the public aid facilities or whatever when they got me out there selling phones. Or either like when I go to a church or something where they passing out hams, turkeys and everything. The people normally just be out there, they get it, they go and sell it. They go sell the turkey, go sell the ham. They go sell, I mean, go right straight out the church and go straight over to somebody, hey, now I got hams, I got chickens.
I think those are some different types of
Yeah, we're not looking for.
individuals. They may need to come
But
see
I'm
you on
just
Wednesday.
saying, I'm just saying, they can use the same way to get a phone. You know, they can get somebody mail out their,
But there's a
mail
limit,
box,
they
you know.
can't show up 10
It's always
times.
being ways.
No,
Get
we have a question here.
Okay, so now are you predominantly based on the west side of Chicago?
No,
Okay.
I'm willing to travel anywhere. Honestly.
No, but I know what you're saying, you'll go anywhere, north side, stuff like that. So I'm just looking in terms of this organization's Exodus. And at some point, Exodus will continue to grow. And, with the blessing, Exodus will have some type of portal. Like with many businesses, they have portals or non-for-profits, they have a portal. When they can go on that portal, then they can see your name or your services, or there will be as things continue to grow for the organization, there will be a sufficient amount of inquiries per month that can come by and register and say, hey, we got 10 folks that want to get a phone and they can connect with you, because one of the goals, I believe, with the podcast is for this organization to be more known. This is a West Side institution, and it didn't start here. It started in the West Side. So, whatever that strip you want to call the West Side needs the resources like the South Side. Mm-hmm. We hear a lot about the South Side, what the South Side got going on. We see the organizations, we see the dollars being put into the South Side. Many of our politicians do more things on the South Side than they do on the West Side. The folks who are running, one person, I won't say the name, but they are part of Operation Push. He's from the West Side. He graduated from the West Side. Mm-hmm. I don't see resources being put into the West Side, and I don't see the communities supporting these institutions like they should in order to get it to develop, because this should not be the only location. This would be the primary location, but there should be a satellite location of Exodus that resides in Garfield Park. If you go from Pulaski to Sacramento, there's no way in God's green earth that should have been renamed to Humboldt Park. Okay? So we know that is the West Side. So however that fell out with the aldermen and the relocations, that should have never taken place, because it takes ownership, it takes a sense of pride of saying this is our community, now our community is called Humboldt Park. So you look at the biggest institution that's now put over there. So why Humboldt Park, and then you build this multi-million-dollar Salvation Army facility over there.
Yeah.
And you look at the community now, there's nothing wrong with blending the community. But now you got more folks coming into the community. There needs to be more services for the West Side of Chicago. So whatever alderman, whoever's listening, has to be more services put in the West Side of Chicago. And there's no reason for the West Side of Chicago to still be a dry grocery land. Mm-hmm. You got one grocery store in Leamington. You got to go to Oak Park to get to a grocery store. If you go to Pulaski, on Chicago Avenue, where's the grocery store?
Right.
If you go to Lake Street, where's the grocery store? When you drive down Chicago Avenue, you should be able to see this young man's business highlighted on the billboard, being supported by the community. You should see several coffee cafes. It shouldn't be that you drive across the bridge when you get close to Pulaski and see what's that, the new police academy?
Yes.
So if they put a new police academy, and you see the changes down Chicago Avenue, but the changes are not benefiting for the folks who've lived there the longest. And that area needs to be renamed. If anything, it should have been called North Garfield Park. It should not have been called, Humboldt Park.
Yeah.
We need the resources, and we need more folks to come out and support this institution. They've been around a long time, and again, it wasn't always here. But the fact that the folks, Mr. James,
yes,
Mr. Alderman, who have been a part of Exodus, they've been trying to do this for many, many, many years. And it goes all the way back to a marching band.
That's right.
for the community on the west side. And they were doing these organizations with no budget.
That's right.
There was no budget for New Frontier. There was no budget for Exodus. It was their own heart and soul.
That's right.
So I'm a person who knows about this, but it needs to be more. So I congratulate you for being a part and coming out here and giving your time to make sure that folks know the west side of Chicago, north side, whatever, but particularly on the west side of Chicago, that you can be a resource to them and that you're making a connection, a partnership with Exodus.
And I want to thank you, Ms. Nash, for saying those things. I brought out some.
And that was not a paid.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't paid. That came
No, that's not
from.
paid.
That's from the heart.
It came from her heart. But there was some pictures that I took. Why am I getting this? Is it from that mic? Turn that one off. Turn that one off.
Now, it's too close, you can't.
I'm too close.
You're too close.
Oh, but anyway, I brought some pictures out today, and I brought them over here and placed them up here. But there's a picture of her mother in the office, across from Mr. Altman's office, where we started, and how the churches and everybody got with us to save the youth and the children of the community. And we also passed out an award, about 25 years ago. We gave the Miss Nash award out, and Shamika came and received it. And we were in Garfield Park when we passed out this award. And when we get a chance, I want to take the camera and go over to that room, because that was the start of Exodus. And your mother was a part of there. You're going to see some of the ministers and different things, and you're going to see some skinny guys like Larry and Big Larry and Roosevelt. You're going to see Albert. You're going to see Lonzo. And you're going to see Deuce Gregory. And how they've been so successful on doing some things in school. And Miss Nash received from us, and George was there to video. This is Miss Nash's sister, that I think you may have taken her picture that night. Shamika Nash received what is called the Torchbearers Award from around the world for her peace and the things that she do here for the youth on the south side and the west side. Wow. Not only did she go out there and teach, what was that school that she was teaching? Was it
Morgan Park?
Morgan Park High School? She was the band director there. She is the band director over in Morgan Park, but she's also on the west side over here at Circle Rock. And she's also in Lawndale and in Humboldt Park. And she's also with the board, and she's with Ravinia to sit back here and teach. She directed the orchestra at Ravinia. I got pictures on this thing. And it was a beautiful, I was almost in tears to see, when you see one of your children being successful up on the stage and doing different things. And I was so proud of her, because not only that, I was telling everybody in the park that day, she used to be with us. I said, now she's teaching my granddaughter. That's the one all the way in the back, the one that's not paying attention, that's my granddaughter. I was so happy that day, even in the rain. I was put your umbrella down so that you could see my kids and things. But it was a wonderful thing. And she's with this an all-women band that me and Mr. Altman and Miss Nash, we went out in the park over at, what's that, the who? At the Sable? Okay, we were out there in the park watching them play.
South Shore Country Club.
South Shore Country Club, that's where we were. And the band, all women, was performing, but they did have one guy, I think, on the bass. But to see an all-women jazz too now, and she's a part of that. And also she kind of helped out with some of the instruments over here. She was telling me, give this instrument here a bad, give this one a bad, and make lamps out of those two, because those were some horns that we received from Major Adams. I'm not gonna take up too much time, because I think, is this the last guest? If you want to elaborate upon where you're gonna be next and how can they get these phones, do you have a phone number where they get?
Yes, anybody can contact me at 312-978-9164. Again, that's 312-978-9164. I'm Darius Jones. Feel free to ask me any questions about the phones. You can call anytime between 9 o'clock and 5 o'clock.
And I want to thank Mr. Jones for coming out and giving out that information. And he will be setting up classes to help them do that and everything, because of the information that he learned here at Exodus today. So you all come on out, you support us as much as you possibly can, and we'll be right back.
My name is Jerome Altman. I am the director of the Exodus Drum and Bugle Corps. One of the greatest things that I found is that music is always an encouragement and uplifting, and it gives the kids a chance to do great things in the community.